Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to provide you with a high-level overview of cannabis. So where do we start? What is cannabis? I'm glad you asked that question. Botanically speaking, it is simply a plant, a stout annual herb with stiff upright stems divided into jagged leaves, i.e. a plant. Now, cannabis is also known by several names, such as aka marijuana, ganja, aka hemp, hashish, and many, many more. I'm going to leave it up to you to look it up because the list goes on. Now, there are 483 identifiable chemical constituents known to exist in a cannabis plant, and at least 120 different cannabinoids have been isolated from the plant. The most popular of the cannabinoids are cannabidiol, also known as CBD. The second is tetrahydrocannabinol. Whew, that's a mouthful. Also known as THC. Now for a little history. The cannabis plant is indigenous to Central and South Asia and the Indian subcontinent. The oldest archaeological evidence of cannabis found was in Romania, dated 3500 BC. Whew, that's a long time ago. Cannabis was introduced into the modern world in the 1500s by the Spaniards, then later criminalized in various countries beginning in the 19th century. The first restriction on the sale of cannabis in the U.S. came in 1906 in the District of Columbia. We can always count on D.C. to be the leaders of something, good or bad. Now these days, cannabis can be used by smoking or vaping, or by ingestion like eating brownies or gummies or mints, or by way of injection such as an IV, or even as a topical solution. There really are many more, but you can look them up or ask a local provider. The cannabis plant has been used as a drug for both recreational and medical purposes. So let me break that down for you. What is medical use? Medical cannabis or medical marijuana refers to the use of cannabis to treat disease or improve symptoms. However, there is no single agreed upon definition, so we'll just say to treat medical issues. How about that? Man, scientists can't agree on anything. Examples of medical uses are reduced nausea and vomiting during chemotherapy, improved appetite in people with HIV or AIDS. It's often used to treat chronic pain, muscle spasms, and neuropathic pain. Some people use it for AIDS wasting syndrome, epilepsy, rheumatoid arthritis, and glaucoma. Now, if we could just remove it from the silly Schedule 1 drug status, we could do even more research and help even more people. Oops, I'm sorry, I digress. On to recreational use. Being under the effects of cannabis is usually referred to as being high or stoned. This would be considered recreational use. Cannabis consumption has both psychoactive and psychological effects. The stoned experience can vary widely based, among other things, on the user's experience with cannabis and the type of cannabis consumed. For example, when smoking cannabis, the effects can occur within minutes of smoking. Whereas if you ate a brownie or a gummy, the effects could take significantly longer. Additional desired recreational effects from consuming cannabis include relaxation, a general alteration of conscious perception, increased awareness and sensation, increased libido, and distortions with the perception of time and space. Now, it should be noted that there are also some religious or spiritual purposes for the use of cannabis. It is believed that the psychoactive properties were discovered by Iranians to induce a trance state during some of the religious rituals. The medical use of cannabis is legal in only a limited amount of territories, including but not limited to Canada, Belgium, Australia, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain, and many U.S. states. Within each state, there is a distinct approval process for either medical or recreational or both. Now, because the legal requirements for usage in the U.S. vary from state to state, you have to research the requirements for your state so that you can make sure you are breaking no laws. For example, in Maryland, you must first have an in-person in-person visit with a registered provider with whom you have a bona fide provider-patient relationship. Yes, this means you cannot ask your local coffee barista to certify you. If you meet the provider's criteria for treatment with medical cannabis, the provider will issue a certification. You must then fill out the application on the Maryland website. When the application has been approved, you will receive an ID card. Once you have your card, it is only at this point that you can head on down to the local Maryland dispensary to pick up your medical cannabis. Do not attempt to purchase from a medical dispensary without a medical cannabis card. It ain't gonna happen. Now, for more information specifically related to your state, you can go to the website listed below. Thanks so much for tuning in.